Welcome, Stu. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, I finally got here. Do you know what? I think I was using the link for last week's live, and it
That's
just
what I was
wasn't.
thinking.
Yeah, I realised it was from last week's live, and it just wasn't connecting. But so people, if you're thinking about doing this, it's harder than it seems. You need to get your tech right. But Mike's the boss.
It's okay. Yeah, it's not always easy to manage everything. And thank you to all of you for following us. I'd like to say hello to the early birds. Fatima Essa, welcome, as well as Pavel Pol. Hi, everybody. My guest out and an honor every time I join you. Your stream boosts my wake up to a better teaching. Yeah. Sounds good. Get ready. We have a special guest today, Stu. Do you know?
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
been
So
recommending her exactly. Sharina
yeah,
Smith.
so Sharina's great. She's really busy on Facebook, and she has a really good community that she has. It's called TEFL on the Go, and it's fantastic. If you're like an online teacher, in particular, not only online teaching, she also has in class teachers, but it's a community very supportive. People help each other, guidance, always good questions going into there. So if you're a teacher on Facebook, check out TEFL on the Go, and you'll be able to find Sharina, and yeah, she'll just help you in your career.
And with this said, we're not going to wait anymore. Let's welcome our guest, Sharina Smith.
And now let's welcome Sharina Smith to the ESL live stream.
Hey,
Hi, Sharina.
Hey there.
Thank
Hi,
you for
Mike.
being
How's
here.
you?
It's a
hey,
great
Sharina,
pleasure to
really,
have you.
yeah, really,
Thank you.
really nice to see you for the, finally face to face.
Finally, yes. Finally, face to face. Thanks for having me here. Great to be here today.
And, and you are actually in South Africa. What time is it there?
In South Africa, it is 3:05 p.m. So we are in getting into our afternoon.
So you see, the technique is really awesome. Even if it's difficult sometimes to figure it out, all the links. But from China to Europe to South Africa, that's awesome. That's the ESL live stream. Thank you so much for being here. That's a great honor to have you with us. And can you just very quickly, I already introduced yourself, but if you want to introduce yourself one more time, Sharina, you're very welcome. Hope I didn't make mistakes in the introduction.
No, you were on point. All right. No problems there. Well, some of you, I see some of my team has joined. Thank you guys for being here. Um, I'm
Great,
Sharina
awesome.
Smith. I'm from South Africa. For those who don't know me, I run a community group called TEFL on the Go on Facebook, and it's a global community group across all ends of the earth, and it grows every day. And we it's quite fluid, so I adjust it according to the needs of the members. I try and keep everyone happy, answer questions, just basically get them staying on top of the game with TEFL. That's basically what I do.
Helping teachers, thank you so much again for being here today. So we're going to start with first question. Feel free, everyone, in the chat. If you got questions to ask about online teaching, maybe there's one question that everybody would love to ask you. It's uh, maybe most of them are Mike's on ESL. A lot of us are from classroom teachers. So we are also interested in maybe switching to uh, an ESL teacher, but online, and maybe trying to create our own business. So how, from a classroom teacher, we would start doing it online?
All right, that's a question I get asked, I think, 5 times or 10 times every single day. If it's not on WhatsApp, it's on email or via the community, because there are so many teachers who are getting stressed out being in the classroom and it's just not working out for them. All right, especially in South Africa, we have a lot of that. So we're finding that transition is happening more and more often than it did in the past. All right, because of burnout and different political reasons. So your question, Mike, is how do you do that? Well, those of us who have
Yeah.
done the transition from classroom to online, me being one of them myself, know it's like walking on land and then suddenly you left to walk on water. That's what it is. Okay, so it's very different. It's very different, and there is a lot of things that need to be put in place. So the first advice I give to people is go and do some research before you do make that transition, because it's not for everybody. People think it's also glamorous. You hop online, you press a button, you're in a different country with a different student, and it's all glamour and excitement. It's not. It's hard work as well. Okay, it's a lot of hard work for us that know that.
True.
So there are many different things one has to do. The first thing I would say is go and do your research. See if that fit is for you to move to online first. It's not a fit for everyone. Secondly, well, you can book a one-on-one free consult with me, and I navigate that journey, take you through the horrors of it and the beauty of it. Okay, I do both with you, so you can make an informed decision there. The next thing I would suggest you do is get training. Get training and get a mentor who's been there, done that. Not someone who's teaching you out of Chat GPT. And by, someone who's been there and done that. So you get that first-hand one-on-one, motivation and training. So those are some of the things I suggest. Also, remember, being in a classroom is so different, because now you need to have all the online tech and tools, and that is the scariest part for most teachers who are doing the transition. Now, this year alone, I've trained quite a few teachers from the brick and mortar school system. Who one was 22 years, the other one was 33 years in traditional classrooms, and they decided to go online. And told me they tell me it's the scariest thing that's ever happening to them, because Mark Thompson, my group knows him. He's an retired teacher, head of department. He's 33 years there. He came to me for training this year, and he told me, Sharina, I am so scared, I am so nervous, you have no clue, but I'm telling you because I need your help. So I told him, look, first things first, let me tell you what it's all about, which I did. I don't know if I scared him even more, but I was just being honest. The next thing I told him was, let's get you down to some training. And he's like, what training? And I said, you have to be trained. Online is different. Besides knowing how to
True.
use the tech and tools, you are now in a virtual environment. It's totally different, being in a virtual environment. So you need to have those skills of tech and tool, which most traditional teachers don't have, because online is so different. Okay, so that's the one thing. The second thing is, in using tech and tools, you need to know how to use Zoom, Teams, Google Classroom. What's the other ones we use? Your virtual whiteboards, your screen share, your breakout rooms. If you can't use these technologies, you can't teach online. It's basically impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, Sharina, you make such a good point, because you've got a lot of different platforms, and each platform has got different like layout and functions, like where the button for breakout
Yes,
room on
yes,
one platform is different from another, and you can't work it out during the lesson. You need to be professional, work out the platform in your own time. If your
yes.
students aren't online, just do it with a friend. Just really suss out the platform, right? And
Yes,
also,
definitely. Mm.
Yeah, a good tip as well is get practice with the parents, because if you're teaching children and they can't work out, what they need to click as well, so you can get the parents on board as well. That's another really good tip.
Yeah, that's great to get the parent on board. It makes the class much. It flows easier. All right, but then also for as a teacher, before you even start your first class, I always say make sure you know your tools that you're going to use. Bring them up, test them, see that they're working before your class starts. So that's also very important. Um, I think that's the first thing. One must know which platform they're going to use, which makes it a little bit difficult because different countries use different platforms. Like, we all
True.
know that China doesn't have Zoom. You can use the VPN code to get in, but most people don't have it. So they use a different platform. I think it's ClassIn. Am I correct, Mike?
Yeah, classing.
And
Yeah,
WeChat.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
WeChat. Is
Exactly.
it WeChat? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have
We
to know
chat. Exactly. Yeah.
WeChat, yeah. You got to know different platforms. And, these are very important things as an online teacher to know those different platforms and how to use the different tools when teaching. So that's one of the skills you need to know. Another skill that's a must, that's very important, is you got to know how to engage your classroom or your
Mm,
class. Usually it's one on one. So for 60 minutes, all the student is seeing and hearing is you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that can become quite a daunting task as a, especially when you're a new teacher. How do you engage your classroom? What do I
Mm,
use? What materials do I bring up? You don't have a
mm,
textbook anymore. You're not reading or doing lesson plans that's already lesson planned for you. You have to bring in your lesson plan. And that's a skill. I know ChatGPT can do it for you, but it's very impersonal. It shows out. Okay, if you just use
True.
it
True.
as it is, it does show out. I am very much into teaching the people that I train how to do their own lesson planning and creation. It's one of my
mm.
modules, lesson planning and creation, because if you have a boring lesson plan, you're not going to get that student back. He's not going to refer you either.
Mm.
So
When you touch on engagement there, Sharina, it's like I've got a good friend, Ross Thorburn, and he runs the TEFL Institute. So he kind of does a lot of interviewing of like really like professors and stuff, a lot of authors. And he used to be an area manager for like VIP Kid or one of the really big ones in China. He was like a really big regional manager, and he was doing his
yeah,
masters in linguistics like I was, but for his masters he did a dissertation on online engagement strategies for students, for children. How can we engage children, when it's looking at a screen for 60 minutes? You're not in the classroom, you're not moving around, standing up, getting into pairs, you're stuck very static with the screen. So how can we engage students? He did a lot of speaking to teachers and working it out. And he had some really good ideas actually about online engagement strategies, kind of like not making it so linear, creating breakout rooms, jumping forward and moving backwards in the class, making it less linear. So engagement is a big issue as well in online teaching.
yeah, definitely
Yes, because
engagement is a must.
exactly. Always remember, uh, online, when you teach online, your environment is reduced. I mean, it's only this screen like we are today. You have
Yes, yeah,
only this to express yourself and to do actions, or there are also a lot of TPR into it. You get to learn. I found it's even more than in the classroom. It's quite close to what we use sometimes, especially for young kids. When you say listen, there are some TPR that you can still use from being in a classroom, but when you are in this app or in this platform, it's very reduced, and you don't really feel your students. You don't have this atmosphere around you. You don't have that, connections with the kid. When there's something wrong in the classroom, you can see it right away. But
Yes.
in online, it's really difficult have that feeling. I'm someone who works a lot with feelings, feel the kids reaction, and I change my teaching according to that. So I think it's lesson plan, especially with kids, young kids, should be really important. The preparation should be an 80-90% of a great result of the students, because it's quite difficult to feel that students, if we can say it like that.
Do you know
Yes.
quickly, like, sorry, Trina, just while you're on that thing there, I've got a buddy called Jake, and he's also really very, very knowledgeable. And one of his tricks actually for engagement on online is to use your desk space. So if you're using your camera, you can literally just adjust it down like that, or just move down your camera, and then he gets Lego blocks or big Duplo blocks, and he can use these as
Okay.
word chunks. So he might write something on like a big like Lego block or a Duplo block, move it around, and he can like use blocks like this, kind of like pushing things together, and like making this part of the word or this part of the sentence move with this, using word chunks, explaining grammar using blocks. And he loves using blocks in online classes and desk space.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that sounds awesome. That's a great idea. Hey, thanks for that one. I'm sure a lot of people, I've never thought about it, moving your camera down,
Oh,
using your desk
yeah,
space.
really works well.
Great stuff. Great
Yeah.
idea. All right. That is the thing. When you're online, you got to be able to be adaptable and flexible in your class. You've got to be ready and know how to modify that lesson. Um, you know, on the spot, on the fly. You must know how to modify that lesson, especially if you a teacher and you can pick up your student is getting bored. You know that you need to change direction. You have to change direction, otherwise it's an ineffective classroom. So you got to know how to do these things and how to modify that lesson. It's important. Another very important skill we all know being online is technical problems. You got to know how to troubleshoot them. you know if Zoom is throwing you out or there's no sound, we often have that. You as a tutor can't go in a panic. You got to know how to handle that classroom dynamic, and that comes with
Mm.
skill as well. That's a skill you learn, your classroom dynamics. That's very important. Solutions and alternatives has to be there on hand. You have to have it. So these are some of the skills that together with effective communication, like Mike was saying, you just in this little block, just the two of you for a whole hour, and you just communicating. Yeah, it's that big. Hey, it's just that big. So your communication has to be clear, concise, supportive.
Mm.
You can't speak in monotones. I know a lot of people want to start teaching children. They say it's easier. Yes, it's easier. If you make a mistake, you can, smile, start a song, cover it up, right? You can do that. Unfortunately for me, I was teaching business English to adults. So it wasn't that easy to
They
cover that
know
one up.
something's going wrong. They can
They know
see it's
what you're talking. Yeah.
yeah.
So you can only do these things with skill and preparation. You can't jump onto a class platform and think you're going to wing it. If you're going to
Mm.
do that, I can assure you you're going to fail. You're going to fail down the line. It doesn't work. So
Yeah.
you have to know, like Mike was saying, your body language is so important. Your eye contact, your TPR, the way you use your hands. Those are all important things. Your vocal projection, I think that's one of the
Mm.
most important thing. What is your vocal projection? What are the cues like? So there are so many skills that one has to learn before being effective online. Like I said, it's not just learn how to use maybe Zoom, jump on the platform and start teaching. That just the tip of the iceberg of what it's about.
I think another skill that is really important as well is concept questions and making sure you clarify the task before you get going. So I was teaching online before, and I thought I had explained the task really well. I said, okay, off you go. And I could see that there was confusion. And I was like, that's my fault. I didn't clarify. I didn't check that they understood the task. So I would always advise teachers, when you're giving tasks, check that they understand. Susan, like, how many questions do you need to write down? I need to write down 5 questions. I need to write down 6 answers. Okay, I know that you've understood, what you need to be doing. So check it before you begin the task as well.
Yes, definitely. Stu, you're talking about the CCQs, concept checking questions.
Yeah.
CCQs are a must. It's something that, when I do lesson planning and creation, you've got to, as a tutor, ask the question, your CCQ, what did I just say about travel? What did you understand? You've got to ask, because if you don't ask, you would assume that the student knows and you move on. And the student is just sitting there quiet, totally lost. So your concept checking questions is must, very important. I think more important than all of the things we have discussed so far is time management in your classroom. That is key to the success of your class, is your time management. If you don't do effective time management, you only have 45 minutes, sometimes 60 minutes. With children, it's 25 minutes, I think, usually China, 25 minutes in a class. You've got to cram your whole lesson plan in that time, which means each and every section of your lesson has to be timed and planned accordingly. So that's important. Also, the fact that you're working different time zones and you've got to manage the times and the conversions.
That's tough as well, right?
It's much.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
that's
conversions, okay?
Yeah. Sharina, if you are a teacher and you want to kind of, the problem with these platforms is the pay isn't often very high. The platform sucks all of the, by the time the students have paid, by the time it hits your bank, it's gone through several different hands, and you're not really getting that much money from platforms and whatnot. How would you use like online and social media to kind of, build yourself up a profile to potentially get more students?
Well, for those who know me and those who've on my group, they know that I'm all out for people teaching independently, being their own platform, having their own, online school going. Now, that's not a fit for everybody as well. Okay. You've got to be more an entrepreneur and all for that. So I get that. But then you get the people who want to work on a platform, and you're right, Stu, if it's not $5 and $6 or $9 and less 33%, I mean, it's just crazy what's going on right now. It's one of the reasons why I always advocate for those people who have experience and can go independent online to do so. All right. Or do it simultaneously. You can work on a platform, gain the experience, be more confident while building your own business. Okay. Because when you build your own business, that is something I did. I was with italki and Skyeng for like 2 years and then started building my own business online. When you start doing that, you realize your worth. You're worth more than this $10. You are worth more than this $5 they want to pay you. And I have that every day where teachers are coming to me because of those platforms they're working on. Getting back to your question again was, how would one actually do that? Using social media to leverage your brand and leverage your services is very important. So marketing is key in the business. The downside is a lot of teachers and those who come from an educational background are not marketers. Okay. Marketing is a different environment. It's a different kettle of people who do that. Okay. So my team are
Different
always telling me,
strategies.
you're
Yeah.
fortunate to have me because marketing was my forte. I was a business development consultant for 24 years, and then I transitioned to the classroom. So I have experience in both of it. You have to leverage on social media because that's where the magic is happening. Everybody's on their phone. Even when they're in the bathroom, they're on their phone. They're checking something out there. So you've got to be there. You've got to be in people's faces. And you, I always recommend Facebook for various reasons. Beside it having billions of people on their platform, you can market there free. You're allowed to market free for a certain extent, so it's cost effective for you. Um, it's where the real world is. Things are happening there. People can share your ideas. You can start building up a brand. And this is where a lot of teachers fall short because they don't realize you've got to build up a brand. You are a brand. You yourself are a brand. So
Yeah.
whether you're working on Preply or iTalki or Palfish, wherever you are, you've got to advertise. You have to. There are thousands and thousands of tutors that these platforms employ, and everybody's looking for the best tutor, the cheapest rate. So you have to be very competitive out there, and you have to leverage on social media for people to know who you are.
Mm.
So,
Exactly. Um, yeah. So I had a quick to go on with that. What types of supplementary materials, like, for example, digital resources, worksheet, or ebooks, can ESL teachers create and sell as well to generate what we call passive income?
passive income. All right. Now, this is something that I say you have to learn how to have different streams of income, whether it's passive or not, especially on the online in the online
Yeah.
industry. We all know as ESL teachers or even teachers teaching, Cambridge or whatever you're teaching, that you have a dry season at certain times. When there's holidays, it's a dry season. When China is gone on holiday or Chinese New Year, it's a dry season. So you can't afford to have those dry seasons. So passive income is very important, and there's different ways of doing that, Mike. You can go and design and download resources which you can get for free. Whether it's vocabulary, grammar, reading and comprehension, you can put it together and sell that online. People are willing to
Yeah.
buy it because they don't have time to go and research this kind of thing. That's one of the things you can do. Or you sell it on Teachers Pay Teachers. Teachers Pay Teachers. Yeah, that's a
Mm.
platform. Teachers Pay
Oh,
Teachers.
true.
You can
Yeah. Teachers pay teachers.
you can yeah, Teachers Pay Teachers. A lot of
Mm.
people sell the stuff there. Another passive income is to do guides for exam preparation. Okay. Now, guides for exam preparation
Oh, right.
sell. You can put your price to it. Okay. Because every parent wants their kid to have this exam prep pack.
Mm.
Okay, so you can call your price during the exam time. I did that 2 years ago, and I know for a fact it works. It really works. It may take you a little time to put your material together, but once it's done, you have that. So
Yeah.
that's
So it's a
another
kind
way
of
of
study guide, right? It's a study
yeah, like
guide
a kind of
in fact.
yeah, like a kind of study guide, like a kind of study guide. Okay. But you
Oh,
kind of
okay. Yeah, yeah.
personalize it. You make it personal, simplify it, you break it down, and you give the option that you can maybe give the person buys the study guide and you can maybe give them 2, 3, or maybe 4 live sessions, lessons, you know. You do it then as a group.
Yeah.
So it's not taking a lot of time from you, but you will consistently make money out of it. That's a good thing. This year, next year, the following year, you're going to make money out of it.
Mm. Yeah, that's and
So
you can use Canva. So Canva, it's free. It does have a
Oh, yeah.
premium thing, but but the free one is great, and you can make some amazing resources using Canva. I wrote 2 books for teachers using Canva, 129 flashcard games and a big book of classroom warmers and games. And I wrote both of those books using Canva, and that makes a great passive income